Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Jaded Blossom has a brand new mini release called Gnome Costume Party, and it is so much fun. There are 2 new gnome add-on die sets. So here's a look at the 2 sets. We have Halloween costume add-on set number 1 and also set number 2. We'll start with set number 1. Both of the new sets include a ton of dies. With set number 1, you can create a vampire, devil, a knight, Frankenstein, and a pirate. But really, the possibilities are endless. You can mix and match all of the different add-on sets. And I do want to mention the dies do not come on these magnetic sheets. I've already kept mine apart, and this is how I store my larger die sets. Here's set number 2. There's a lot more dies in this set. And you can use set number 2 to create a princess, cat, a unicorn, and a witch. And I love the new legs for the witch. So instead of just having the bottom of the foot option, now there are legs with her doing the splits. There are also some new hats, there's a tiara, there's even some cat paws. And I think those would work for many of the critters. If you are interested in the new die sets, I do have links provided in the description box below. I do have a few cards to share with you today using the new die sets. For card design number 1, I have some pattern paper from Doodlebug Design. It's one of their rainbow petite prints. It's part of the Gingham and Linen collection. To add some fun texture to the background, I used a die from Pink Fresh Studio called Sparkling Diamonds. I love this stitched and pierced detail. I'm also adding a couple of Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the pinstripe style in the pink holographic color. I use the medium and also the narrowest width. Just wrap those ends around the back. I'll put some ATG tape on the back of this piece and also some liquid adhesive along the very outside edge. Since this does have the stitched and pierced detail, it'll help it lay nice and flat. And I'll layer that panel on some black cardstock. Add my card front onto a card base. All of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. I'll be assembling a gnome witch, and my inspiration for this witch came from Doodlebug Design's Candy Carnival collection. There's a cute little witch in that collection in pink and green, and I thought it would be fun to try to recreate the look of that witch using the dies from Jaded Blossom. I've already assembled the main body of the gnome. Now the gnome does have those little nubs where you would put the feet, but those are not necessary if you're adding the new legs with the feet, so I simply trim those off. I cut out the dress from some black cardstock, and for the witch's legs, she's got some black and white striped tights, and this is some pattern paper from MFT. I used the new skirt die. I think this is intended for the princess, but I thought it would be perfect for the little witch. I cut out 2 of them. The green is a tone-on-tone polka dot pattern paper from Doodlebug Design, and the other is just solid pink. Layered them together so you can see a ruffle of pink underneath the green skirt. And to add just a little bit of sparkle, I'm using a Love from Lizzie peel-off and putting it right above the green skirt. It's the pink clear iridescent color. Now I'll start working on the witch's hat. Use some black cardstock for the main hat, and I have some more of the Doodlebug tone-on-tone pattern paper for that wider stripe. This is the opposite side of the polka dots. It has the diagonal stripes on the other side. Now the witch's hat does not line up with the traditional gnome hat, so you will need to trim off those extra parts so they're not peeking out. My little witch will have some pink braids. So just glue those down. This skin tone cardstock I'm using for all of my gnomes is from a collection by P13. I like to use a variety of different skin tones for my gnomes. I did put some foam dimension on the back of her nose, so I'll just adhere that in place. She's really coming together. I love how this little witch turns out. I'll also add some tiny little bows to her braids, and I use some green iridescent cardstock. They're just tiny little pieces, but it does add that little bit of sparkle. I used the same cardstock for the larger bow, and that die is included in the Easter add-on set. I cut out 2 more of the little hair bows, and I'm adding them to the top of her boots. I think that adds an adorable look to the witch. Now I'll put liquid adhesive on the back and attach my little witch onto a vellum oval die cut. I'll put her closer to the top of the oval, that way I have enough space underneath her to add the sentiment. Then I'll flip over the oval and add liquid adhesive on the back side, just in the area where the witch is. That way you won't see any of the liquid adhesive from the front through the vellum. I'll also put just a tiny bit at the very bottom of the oval, since I know I'll be adding a sentiment there. Adhere that to my card. And by using vellum instead of white cardstock, you'll still be able to see that fun design in the background. This little witch will be holding a potion bottle, and I've already assembled most of it. I used some iridescent vellum for the main portion of the bottle, so you're able to see through it, and it also has a really pretty finish. I have a little bit of foam dimension on the back side of the hands that I'll use liquid adhesive on the area where she's holding the bottle. Next I'll add the sentiment, and I've already stamped and cut this out. This sentiment is from the Gnomie Want Candy set, and there are coordinating outline dies. I did add some foam dimension on the back of the sentiment before adhering it in place. Now I'll use a white gel pen and add a few highlights to the hat, the witch, and also the potion bottle. And I decided that potion needed to be sparkly, so I'm using a clear glitter brush from scrapbook.com. For final finishing touch, I'm adding a few pink enamel dots, and since they are going on the vellum, I was able to lift it up and add just that small drop of liquid adhesive underneath those enamel dots. That way there are more areas on the oval that are attached to the card. So there is my finished card, and I did make two using this design. I love this little witch. She is so adorable. This is definitely my favorite card. I have a third card using the same design, but this one features the knight. And I decided to make that a birthday card. The new costume sets work well for Halloween cards, but you can also use them year-round. Most of the cards I make in this video are not Halloween cards. Now moving on to card design number 2. And I forgot to show it in the video, but I am using a card sketch for inspiration for this card. It's from OWH number 256, and I do have it pictured on my coordinating blog post. The pattern paper for this card is from Doodlebug Design. Several months ago, I purchased a 12 by 12 pattern paper grab bag of all Doodlebug papers, and I love the different variety that was included. And I will add a link in the description box because I think it's still available. I like that the designs on the 12 by 12 paper are still small enough to work for cards. I love the rainbow unicorn pattern paper, and on the back side it has tone-on-tone purple polka dots. I layered that background piece on some white shimmer cardstock and then again on some purple cardstock. I also used some more of the petite prints for that small yellow banner. I've already assembled my little girl gnome. She's wearing the rainbow unicorn hat, and I've added the unicorn ears behind. And since she really loves unicorns, she'll be holding a unicorn, so I am assembling that piece here with you. I have the very background that includes the hand placement and the main stick for the unicorn. Then I used some white shimmer cardstock for the head. I did put a scrap piece of black cardstock on the back side, so that's where the eye and the nostril are. For the unicorn horn, I used some silver holographic cardstock, so it's really sparkly. I used some pink tone-on-tone pattern paper for the little fluff on the top of her head. Then for the rest of the mane, I have orange, yellow, and blue cardstock. There aren't as many pieces for the mane, so I was only able to use a few colors instead of the 6 colors that she has on her hat. After the unicorn is all assembled, I can glue on her hands, and I had put foam dimension on the back side, not sure why, so I just peeled that off, and I'll use liquid adhesive to adhere the hands in place. I'll put some foam dimension on the back side, using just a little thicker foam dimension for the nose of the unicorn. For the little girl's dress, I used some more tone-on-tone polka dot pattern paper from Doodlebug Design. I have foam dimension on the back of the little girl. I'll adhere her to the purple polka dot pattern paper, then I'll attach the unicorn on top, so now she's holding it. This card will also be a birthday card, so I've already stamped out Happy Birthday, used the coordinating die, cut out a second piece using that die from some silver holographic cardstock. Just layer those two pieces together so there's a drop shadow of that beautiful cardstock. And this sentiment is from the So Many Birthdays set 5. And I love that it has the coordinating outline dies. I'll adhere the sentiment in the upper left-hand corner. Then I'll add a few of the highlights using a white gel pen to the unicorn. I've already added them to my little girl gnome. And since this is a unicorn card, there needs to be lots of sparkle. So I'm using a clear glitter brush, adding it to her hat, the ears, and also the unicorn. And I'm trying to be careful not to go over the highlights from the white gel pen. I don't want to smudge it. For final finishing touch, I'm adding some Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the mini star style in the silver holographic color. There are 3 different sizes of the stars. I'll put 3 of them on the right side of the little gnome and 2 in the lower left-hand corner. So there is my finished card, and again, I did make 2 using this design. This is another really fun card. I love all the different colors. Now moving on to card design number 3. Now for this card, I won't be featuring any of the gnomes, but I will still be using the gnome add-on die sets. The pattern paper is from Bella Boulevard's Spell on You collection. It's brand new and it's got some beautiful designs. For the background, I have this really fun design with colorful stars, adding a stripe of purple and black polka dot paper. Along the edge of that pattern paper, I did put some purple mirror Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the pinstripe style. I'll just wrap those ends around the back. Now you can't tell in the video, but that background panel, I did cut it out using the card matte dies from Jaded Blossom. So it does have a stitch detail along the very outside edge. I'll layer that on some black cardstock. Then I'll add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Next, I'll add an oval die cut, and I use some white shimmer cardstock. I cut out a second oval die cut from some scrap cardstock, and I cut the very top and bottom, glued them on the back side. So now when I adhere that oval to my card, there won't be a noticeable bump from the purple and black polka dot paper. I'll adhere that in place using liquid adhesive. Now I'll add several different images, and this card will be featuring some of the witch's accessories. I have her hat all assembled, have some black boots, and I'll also add the broom. I use some brown cardstock for the main portion of the broom, yellow cardstock for the straw, and then craft cardstock for the little tie that holds the straw together. I will be popping this up using foam dimension, and I already have foam dimension on the back of the hat and the boots. I am trimming down the foam dimension so I can fit it on the back of the broomstick. I'll remove the release paper, but I will be attaching the witch's hat down first. That way I can get placement correct for all of the different die cut pieces. Then I'll attach the broom, and I did need to remove some of the foam dimension on the broom handles, since part of that will sit on top of the witch's hat. I'll add a little bit of liquid adhesive in that area instead of the foam dimension. Then I'll remove the release paper from the foam dimension on the back of the boots and adhere them underneath the hat. And I've already added the highlights using a white gel pen. With all of the witch accessories, I decided this needed to be a Happy Halloween card. So I've already stamped and cut that out, and I will pop it up using some foam dimension. I'll adhere this sentiment to the right of the witch's hat. Then to finish off the card, I'll add a few purple glitter enamel dots. 2 in the upper left-hand corner and 1 in the lower right-hand corner. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. The gnomes are definitely cute, but I love that you can also use the dies without the gnomes. Now moving on to card design number 4. The card sketch is from MFT. This is number 304. The pattern paper is from Doodlebug Design. This is more that was in the grab bag that I purchased. I believe this is the Kitten Smitten collection. It's an older collection, so I'm not sure if it's even available. So it was fun to get some of those older collections in that grab bag. This is the same pattern paper sheet, just the front and back side. So I have some pink tone-on-tone hearts, and then a narrow strip of a rainbow stripe paper on the very right side of the card. I'll be layering everything on some black cardstock, and I'm adding another Love from Lizzie peel off between those two pattern papers. This is the pinstripe style in the pink holographic color. Next I'll add an oval die cut, and I did use some shimmer cardstock for that. Glue that down using liquid adhesive. I've already assembled my little gnome, couldn't resist doing one of the kitties. So I have my little girl with a pink hat, and she's dressed up like a black kitty. And my inspiration for this little kitty is from my little girl. I think she dressed up as a black cat for Halloween for 4 years in a row. I just had to keep buying her new black pants and a black top since she was outgrowing them. But all of the rest of the costume still worked, and I was getting really good at painting those whiskers onto her face. I'm adding the sentiment meow, and I cut this out using the alphabet dies from Jaded Blossom. I love this font, and it has a nice stitch detail on all of the letters. I'll also add a small banner in the upper right hand corner, and I just cut this out myself, adhere it down using some liquid adhesive. Then to finish off the card, I'll add some more Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the mini heart style in the pink holographic color. Just add a few of them around my little girl kitty. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. So fun that they added the kitty costume in the Halloween set number 2. Now moving on to card design number 5, and this is my final card design. I have some more pattern paper from Doodlebug Design. This is another sheet that was in the grab bag. It's from the Anchors Away collection. I'm adding a light blue polka dot tone-on-tone pattern paper, and this is from one of the Rainbow Petite Print collections. Using the silver holographic peel-offs, adding the medium width along the edge of that blue polka dot pattern paper. Wrap those ends around the back, and I'll be layering it on some dark blue cardstock. You can see I did cut out a piece that I'll be adding to the pirate's hat from that blue cardstock. Put my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Then I'll add a stitch circle die cut, and I've already done a little bit of paint splattering to the background using some blue ink. So here is my little pirate mostly assembled. I just haven't attached his peg leg yet. This pirate is so much fun. Decided to go for a nice bright red hat with the blue trim. Cut out the skull from some light gray cardstock. I'll adhere the pirate down using liquid adhesive. I have some foam dimension on the back of the peg leg, and I'll just adhere that in place. I'll be adding the sentiment onto a tag die cut, and this is from Jaded Blossom's mini tag die set number 2. Using some leftover ink that's on my blending brush, I'm adding just a little bit along the very outside edge of that tag. Then I'll cover up the whole of the tag with a small piece of brown cardstock. Just cut a little fishtail on the end. I'll adhere that in place using some liquid adhesive. Then I'll attach the sentiment, "Arg." My sweet little girl also dressed up as a pirate, I think when she was either 4 or 5. Cutest little pirate ever. I used the alphabet die set from Jaded Blossom. In order to make that full sentiment fit on the card, I do have some of the letters overlapping each other, but I think that really adds to the look of the card. I will be popping up that tag with some foam dimension. Remove the release paper and adhere it in the upper left-hand corner. Then to finish off the card, I'm using some blue gem stickers. Put a few of them around the sentiment and 2 to the right of the pirate. Then I'll pull out a white gel pen and add some highlights to the tag and around the sentiment. That really makes that sentiment pop a little bit more. So there is my finished card, and again I did make 2 using this design. This is another favorite card of mine. I love the patriotic colors, and that pirate is just adorable. Now here's another look at the 11 cards I made using Jaded Blossom's brand new Gnome Costume Party release. There are 2 die sets available for this release, and both of them are so much fun. They are perfect for making Halloween cards, but you can use them for any card theme. If you have kids or grandkids, these are perfect for making birthday cards or just a card to make somebody smile. I love using Jaded Blossom's products. They always make me smile. If you haven't tried their products, the quality is amazing and their customer service is outstanding. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links provided in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.